Hey, welcome back to the shop. This is Zach over at NV Woodworks. Time for another weekly update. So this week has been even busier than the last 2 weeks, which is a great thing. I've been doing quite a few orders, and I've been doing some experiments and getting more of the team colors kind of nailed down. I think I got like 3 or 4 color combos nailed this week, which is quite a bit. That's pretty good stuff. So lots of stuff. I've been doing some new experiments and new things, so I'll get into that in a little bit, but I first have some announcements. So the Summer's Woodworking 2x4 Challenge is coming up in May. Don't forget to get your 2x4, get your project ready, submit your video, and there's prizes to be given away, and I got a couple of pen blanks and pen kits that I'm giving away for prizes, and there's tons more, so I'm excited. I've been kind of hearing some people talk about projects that they're thinking about doing, so this year is going to be awesome. It's going to be even better than last year. The other announcement I have is Woodworker Safety Week, or Safety Day I should say, is May 15th, and so on that day a lot of the bloggers and video content people make a video that has to do with, or maybe not a video, but a blog post or video or whatever that just kind of has something to do with safety. So always a good thing to bring up safety. This year, I mean, in the last 6 months, I think I've heard of 3 table saw finger accidents. So it's not a bad idea to have these things and just kind of remind you to, you know, be safe and, you know, a couple tips and things. So I'm going to be doing a video on dust from the resins, just kind of covering that. I protect myself from that stuff, so I want to just kind of share that. I've gotten some questions from people about what, is it toxic and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a video and just kind of cover that stuff. All right, so for a couple updates, the blue pine cone blank that I made last week, I epoxied, or I dyed the epoxy that I used to glue the tube in. And I just wanted to mention that worked pretty well. I didn't see any, I couldn't tell that there was any parts that were like glue. So I think it blended in really well with the resin. That blank wasn't super transparent to begin with, really, once I turned it down and finished it, but I definitely hit it. I think you would have seen glue if I would have just left it clear. I think it would have been pretty apparent what that was, so at least to me. So it hit it really well, and I just wanted to mention that. The other thing with that pen, that blank is a good blank. So that thing sold within a day. I posted a picture and somebody said, I claim that. So I was like, all right, no problem. So pretty cool stuff. I really like those blanks. I'll be making more of those in the future. Last week I posted the carbide tool making kind of video, and I've gotten a few questions about when am I going to start selling them. And I'm thinking about selling the tools, but I've only made 2 so far, so I want to make a couple more. I'm planning to go to Reno next week, get some thinner, smaller bar stock to make. The 2 that I made were primarily, they had the big round cutter, 1/2-inch bar stock, and they're really for bowls and bigger stuff. They don't really work as well as I think that they could. Or I don't think those big cutters work as well on like pens and smaller things, and having a 1/2-inch piece of bar stock, you can't get it into small areas. I was doing something, an egg cup holder, and I couldn't even use those things to bore it out. So smaller ones is what's going to be on the next round that I do, but I just want to test. I'm probably not going to do any videos or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that I kind of have the steps down so that I'm not selling tools that are kind of crappy, or I don't know. I want to make sure that if I do start selling them, basically, that they're a good product. So also last week I did a stamp pen, and it turned out pretty good. So I used Mod Podge to glue the stamp onto the tube, onto the brass tube, and then, or it was a bunch of stamps really, and then I used Mod Podge to seal it. And it seemed to work out pretty well, but there were a couple areas where it seemed like, I'm guessing like the resin soaked into the stamp, so I think that I didn't seal it very well with the Mod Podge. This week I'm doing it again on a 2-piece pen. It's like the Junior Gent style. And I have a couple stamps that are Charles Lindbergh 50th anniversary of his Atlantic crossing stamps, whatever. So I'm going to make a pen out of that with that kind of theme, and I'm giving it one more shot, and I'm doing 3 coats, very good coats of Mod Podge on these, actually on one of the tubes. The other tube I'm using a spray. It's a Cast Craft resin spray. I just wanted to try that for a sealer. So I'm going to be doing 3 coats of each, and I just want to see what the difference is on these things, but I think that they're going to work out pretty well. So I'll let you know about that. These stamp pens are really easy. They're delicate, and it's kind of a pain to be working with these tiny little things and all that, but they're not hard really. It takes a little time to get them glued on and put all these coats of sealer on. But after that, you just put them in the silicone molds and just, you know, use clear resin. You could use polyester resin, epoxy, or, you know, I use Alumilite clear. And you just pour a casting, and then you turn it back, and, you know, it looked pretty good. So that one from last week actually turned out pretty good. It's like I'm halfway debating whether I actually want to make a pen out of it or not, but I know, it's just one of those things. I know there's a couple areas that are kind of messed up, and I don't think I really want to sell that. So I think I'm just going to call that an experiment and then move on and hopefully get better results with this one. And make that a 2-piece pen, and it'll probably be, well, if it works out well, if it turns out good, that'll probably be a pretty expensive pen. So if somebody likes Charles Lindbergh, I guess, or, you know, an aviation person, something, will probably like that. So not too bad. Let's see. So another update. So paste wax on your molds. I did some tests on, let's see here. So I had that one mold that I was saying that it was brand new, hadn't ever used any of the silicone or the stoner spray on. And I've used paste wax only with this mold, and it works just fine. I would recommend the first couple times, and I would say this even with stoner, really give it a good coating of paste wax. Really, you know, just keep adding more stuff and get in the corners and do that for the first couple pours. But after that, I mean, you just kind of wipe on, you know, good, I don't know, just give it a good coating of wax, and it's the same thing. I just drop them, the things fall right out. So paste wax is a, oh, for God's sake. Paste wax is a good thing to use. So just wanted to kind of share that. It works just fine. All right, so the other thing that I did this week, pretty big process, was double die stabilizing. So I got an order for a couple duck calls, and I wanted to do the double die process on the blanks. I had some bird's eye maple that I bought and cut it up into blanks, did the whole double die process, and this round, I've done this one other time with the double dyeing, and I wasn't super thrilled with what the result was. It was okay, but it was mostly one color only. So tried it again and got some better results this time. Pretty cool stuff. So I also did a couple different colors this time just to kind of see what the difference was. I got 4 more sitting in the tank here, and I'm actually really curious to see how these ones turn out because I did the process a little bit longer, like did it a little better with these ones. So I'll be baking those tomorrow. They'll be done. So we'll see what happens with it. I also got my Bago call inserts. I think I want to make more of these. So like I said, a couple friends bought a couple. They wanted some that I made, and down the road I think I want to start making more of these calls. They're pretty cool. So bought quite a few. Now a bunch of people were asking me where I got these call inserts from. I bought them from Echo Calls, which was kind of suggested to me by quite a few other turners in general, but a couple of people that just focus on game calls mentioned, you know, this company. So I don't know. I don't know much about duck calls necessarily myself, but Echo seems to be good. They had pretty decent prices too. So you can buy Echo Calls, I think, from Craft Supplies USA also, but they just cost more. So you just buy directly from Echo, easy stuff. So I'll put a link to where you buy them. It was a little weird because Echo Calls sells the full finished calls too, but I'll put a link to where you get the parts on their website down in the show notes. So a couple of comments, I guess, on this double dyeing stuff. It takes so long to do this stuff, and it's not really that cheap. You know, a gallon of cactus juice is $100 or so, 80 to 100. And the problem is, the minute that you put dye in the cactus juice, that's all it's good for. It's going to be, you know, this whole thing right here is red dyed cactus juice. It's not like I can filter out the dye. So, you know, that's cool, but I don't really plan on doing this a whole lot, and it just kind of wastes quite a bit of resin when you're doing it. And like I said, the whole process takes so long. And the results, you know, I got good results on these ones. I'm pretty interested to see how these things turn out once I turn them up. But I don't know that I'm going to be doing this a whole lot because it just takes too much of my time, you know. You got to run your vacuum pump for like days, literally nonstop to do this properly. So I don't know. It's pretty tough. It's fun to do. I think that I'm figuring out, you know, how to do it at this point. I think I can do it when I need to, but I don't really plan on doing a whole lot of this in the future. All right, so that's about it. The only other thing that I did this week was the color matching on the blanks. I got about 5 more team colors, so I'll probably put pictures of the blanks that I got. I got, you know, Vikings, Niners, Rams, Michigan, University of Michigan, and a couple other ones. And I'm working on like a USC, that kind of garnet and gold, Florida State, you know, in there too. There's different garnets in a lot of these different team colors, so I'm going to kind of have to play with that. But I'm going to try and get, you know, one color that's, you know, one team, and then from there you just kind of adjust up or down with maybe black or whatever. It should be pretty simple to kind of go from one color to another in the red. So pretty awesome. I'm really excited about getting, you know, filling out my recipe book basically for all the different colors. Oh, I also got a photo from Lyle. He sent in a picture of a casting that he did with black resin and birdseed is what he used for for embedding it in there. And it turned out really awesome. Like, it was a really cool pen, but he said, man, I couldn't even turn it. I had to sand the thing. You couldn't cut the stuff. It just tore out. So that kind of sucks, but it turned out really awesome. Good job, Lyle. One thing that I'm thinking of, I might try that out and just see what happens if you use CA glue, you know, before you start turning, if it'll stay together at all. Who knows, but pretty cool, I don't know, the small, it looks like granite or something. It's pretty cool casting. All right, so I think that's about it this week. Nothing else major. Now, one thing that I am excited about for next week, I finally ordered some literally like the best type of pen kits, like the top quality ones that you can buy. And I haven't worked with a lot of like the literally super expensive pen kits, so I'm excited to play with those. I don't think I'll be playing too much. It's going to be, those are going to be the over $100 pens, you know, so it's going to have a really good blank, and, you know, I'm going to take my time, so there's not a whole lot of messing around with them, but I'm excited to work with some really top quality materials. So be looking for that, and other than that, I guess if you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below on YouTube or wherever you see this video. And you can email me at zach@nvwoodworks.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter, so if you want to check me out there, Twitter, actually on both of them, I post pretty regularly what I'm working on daily and some fun stuff, so check me out there. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.